how can I help them in this? I know I shouldn't do the applications, which I know a lot of you guys try to. It's not good. Okay. Do not do that. They know when you do that. So a great way to help is to find them for them. Okay. And so you have to understand what are the different categories that you know where to find them. So the 4 different types of scholarships, let's get into the first one. And that is merit. So merit money is what a lot of people think about with scholarships. This is money that's given through the university. So I throw athletic in here because it's based on their merit, their athletic skills, but it's also, it could be based on competitiveness, GPA, test scores, leadership skills, community service. But this is actually a huge way to knock off a large chunk of the bill. So we do want to consider this always. And you would be amazed. So there are scholarships you can see here, $24,000 for a 1310 on SAT or 28 on ACT and a 3.75. Those are good scores, right? But on the other hand, take a look at this one down at the bottom, $16,000 for a 3.0 or an ACT of 25 and up, or 1220 on the SAT, or a 3.5 GPA without the test scores. So you can see here that there are scholarships out there, automatic. So there are 2 different types of merit aid. Automatic aid, that's what you're looking at here, where if we hit those numbers that they're requiring, our student automatically gets that money. And then there's competitive aid where they have to compete for it, maybe essays, interviews, scholarship competitive days where they're doing a series of interviews. So those 2 different kinds. But this is a perfect example where we can actually look ahead and say, okay, if my student is considering University of South Carolina, I can go on there and look up their standard automatic scholarships and see what do we need on the ACT, what do we need on the SAT in order to get this. I know a student who had their heart set on school and didn't do this until senior year. And then he realized he actually missed out on $20,000 by only 1 point on the ACT. Now, this is why it's better to start early, because a lot of times they only allow maybe 1 or 2 tests into senior year to count towards this. You typically need the score pretty much by the end of junior year. So, for example, seniors in spring semester, that if they took a test and got this score, most colleges wouldn't consider that for their application process as far as aid. So, but for getting automatic aid, by the way, typically students are considered for it when they apply and they're admitted. However, some schools do require a separate application to be considered. So we do always want to watch for that as well. And that's through the university. All right. Now, the second type of aid is, or types of debt-free money, can be financial aid and grants. So this comes through FAFSA. And last year, they gave out over $240 billion in aid. And believe it or not, they say, and this is from the .gov, the financial aid statistics website, over $2 billion goes unclaimed every single year. And so in order to access this, we have to submit FAFSA. If you have a student that's a senior in high school or already in college, you need to submit FAFSA. Typically, it's for October 1st, your student's senior year, that you want to apply. And then we have to submit it every single year. Why? Because our financials change every single year. Your situation may change. And so they need to reconsider that. The good news is that they really shortened the application. Logging in was the hard part, but getting in there, it's only 30 questions. So it's really not terrible, but this gives your student access to possibly debt-free money, or at the very least to government-based loans, which actually are the best types of loans. This will be the only slide about debt. Okay. So I will say that this on here, you see the difference between subsidized loans and unsubsidized loans. So when we're getting loans from FAFSA through the government, they have subsidized loans, which actually means that they cover the interest while your student is in college. So you can see their interest while in college is 0 under subsidized, where unsubsidized loans or private loans, any other loans, start accumulating interest the minute your student borrows the money. This can make a big difference over the course of a degree. Okay, so this is where you can't even get access to those unless we submit FAFSA. All families should submit FAFSA. Yeah, Amy, it has been quite a mess, but hopefully they'll start sending out award letters once the schools get the results. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get into my favorite ones. So number 3 and number 4 are actually pretty much the same: scholarships and cash awards. Now, both of these are money that your student can use for any kinds of expenses for the most part. Sometimes they'll put stipulations, but a lot of times they can't really control it. And overall, it's really used for any kind of education, right? These can come from so many different sources: credit unions, banks, construction companies, lawyers' offices, PTAs, PTSAs, Rotary clubs. The list goes on. In fact, I'm going to tell you later where to find our list of over 100 plus places to find scholarships, because the list is endless. Now, the difference between scholarships and cash awards is that scholarships, they are typically, say we're applying now, they are for the next school year. And again, we can start getting those in actually as young as 4 years old, believe it or not, but typically in high school years, and then continue applying all through college. Cash awards are typically for students that are in college already. And if your student's selected as a winner, I actually won a few of these, your student gets the money when they win. So it's not for the following year. They don't hold on to it. So a lot of people, of course, as you can imagine, love cash awards. Now, as far as receiving it, typically scholarships are sent directly to the bursar's office or the financial aid office. And now they sometimes can send it directly to your student. I had one that did that. The rest of mine were sent directly to my bursar's office. And what happens is they're going to credit your student's account. And then your student has to go in, you guys have to go in and select pay the bill. And then if they have excess beyond what the bill is, like I did, then the university will cut them a check that we call an overage check with whatever is remaining. This is obviously an amazing situation to be in. And so I was able to use it for rent. I was able to use it for groceries. One year I broke my laptop. I was able to use it to buy a new laptop. So that is where that's a pretty nice situation to be in. Now, on the other hand, here's one of our families who won $500 and they actually received a Visa gift card, which is so cool. And just quickly, Ella asked, are subsidized loans the better ones? Yes. So subsidized means that they subsidize the interest while they're in college. So that means that your student is not accumulating interest while in college, which is great. Okay. And all right, so let's go ahead. So we talked about what the different types of money are and how we can receive them. Now let's get into step 3. All right. And this is all about finding that hidden money and really understanding where to identify legitimate scholarships that have less competition, because those are the ones we want to go for. So this is where myth number 3 comes in, where a lot of families say, oh, the good one's already taken. We didn't win the Coca-Cola. There's no way we can get that. And the truth is that the good scholarships are not the ones that everyone is going for. When I define good scholarships, I'm talking about, again, most people think Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, KFC, or maybe they think of them as the athletic scholarships, right, that we talked about earlier. But we're talking about smaller dollar scholarships that can still add up to a free ride. So again, here is one student where she got $500, then or $350, then $2,000, then $3,000. Then she did get a big scholarship, a $20,000 win. But these small scholarships add up. I got $500, $600, $1,000, $2,000, $500. These add up. And the great thing about it is many students see those smaller dollar amounts and don't apply. And so they're naturally less competitive. Here's one family where they chose an affordable college. They got within $7,000 of what they needed. And then they applied for external scholarships for smaller ones. They actually won. They got 3 wins and it totaled $6,500. Boom, done, free ride. Okay. Now, if they applied to one big $10,000 scholarship, would it have happened? I don't know. But instead they went for those smaller ones that are less competitive. So imagine, how would $6,500 help you guys? Even if it wasn't a free ride, would $6,500 in scholarships make a big difference for your family? I would say so, right? Now, as far as legitimate scholarships, I'm going to talk about, I've got a spectrum in just a moment, but what we want to look for is if we're seeing no essay or quick win or enter to win here or weekly drawings, we do not want to waste our time on this. If you guys have been doing these, don't, kick yourselves. I did these. Okay. This was my junior year in high school. I could knock them out while watching Grey's Anatomy or whatever it was. They were so quick and easy, but as you probably expected to hear, I never won a penny. Okay. A lot of times what they're doing is actually collecting your students' information or your information, and they're selling it to marketers or their marketing. And that's why your email gets so flooded when doing these. Okay. Now, the other thing about this is actually I always recommend creating a professional email address for the scholarship process, like jocelynscholarships@gmail.com. That will not only keep the scams, if we accidentally get some, out of our main inbox, but we also then, when we are applying for scholarships, we are in that inbox and not in our personal one where we can get distracted by a million other things. So we want to avoid these. Okay. Now, here is a great way to help you understand which ones to apply to, which ones to avoid. The scholarship spectrum. On the left, you see not worth our time. Okay. These are those that I just talked about, based on luck, drawings, sweepstakes, the word easy, no essay. If they're based on luck, how can we improve our chances? The only thing we can do is submit more of them, right? There's nothing in our control besides number of entries. And that's even if you're allowed to do that. On the other hand, the ones that are worth our time are legitimate, competitive. They do require effort. They have multiple sections. They're asking our student about them. They want to see your student's qualifications. Now, what can we do on that end to improve our chances? We can get more competitive. We can improve our test scores. We can write better essays. We can get better recommendation letters. There's so many things within our control. Now, do they take more work? Absolutely. But that's where a system comes into place, where we can save time and energy by reusing materials. But the point is that if we submitted 10 of those scams and win nothing, that'll still take us, say, 2 hours of time, where if we put 2 hours into a solid essay, we could reuse that essay and actually have a chance of bringing in money. So this is how we want to use this spectrum to decide, is this worth our time or not? So let's talk about where to find these scholarships. So a lot of, we always want to look at our guidance office cabinets, or a lot of times they put them on a school website. I still recommend having students walk in. A lot of times they didn't get around to putting a scholarship on the website. We can also, by the way, here look at neighboring school websites. Sometimes they'll find some that ours didn't, and we're still eligible because we live in the same zip code or county or state. So I do recommend checking competitive or neighboring high school websites as well. If we have homeschoolers in here, let me know. But that's also a great strategy for you. Check out your local high schools and see what scholarships they are listing, because more than likely your student will be eligible as well. Now, secondly, looking local. Earlier, I talked about credit unions, banks, lawyers' offices, doctors' offices. Think of any vendors that you personally go to and ask them if they have scholarships. We actually have a student who did this, and they looked at him and said, no, we don't have a scholarship, but that's a great idea. And they created one, and of course he got it. So he created a scholarship out of thin air just by asking if they had one. And I want to say that it was from a doctor's office, but I've seen them even by construction companies, grocery stores. I mean, credit unions often have them, lawyers' offices. They're everywhere. Okay. Yeah. We've got some homeschoolers on here. Yeah, exactly. You guys don't have that extra support of a counselor. Although I will say some counselors are so overwhelmed, it's not very helpful anyway, but still, hopefully this is good. Now, the third one is social media. Okay. So we at the scholarship system, we have links that we share on our Pinterest, on our Facebook page. We are on TikTok and Instagram, all the social media. So if you look up #scholarship, you'll find a lot that are shared on there. We want to be careful with these again, because you will see a lot of those sweepstake ones. And then second to last, okay, I actually have one that's not on this list. We're going to get into deep, but one of the last most common ones is our scholarship search engines. I will let you guys know that actually we use these last, okay? A lot of students go to them because you can just plug and play, put in their basic info and get a nice list. The problem with that is everyone's getting the same list, right? And also those scholarships, for example, on FastWeb, I reached out to them to put our scholarship on there and found out that they charge $600. And that was years ago. It's probably more now, just to list our scholarship. And I said, well, I'm giving out $600 scholarships, so I don't want to lose an entire scholarship just to list it on here. So that's why a lot of times the search engines, they don't even have all of them, because we're not going to pay for them to list our scholarship. Homeschool guidance counselor on the call. Awesome, Suzanne. Well, hopefully this will help you and your families. I love it. Christy, tiny school, no counselor. Yeah, exactly. And even those that have them, they have so many hats, right? And so that's where a lot of times the info around scholarships is pretty basic. Okay, let's talk about, so I just gave you 4 different places to search for scholarships. Let's talk about my favorite one. And this is the scholarship system Google method. Okay. Now, you might be thinking, of course we go to Google, but I'm going to show you very specific searches that really make a difference. So here's one example. Searching Google, searching our major or career fields plus the word association plus the word scholarship. Okay. So add the word scholarship after this. So an example would be engineering association scholarship or marketing association scholarship. And why we're doing this is because then it'll come up with actual organizations that are offering them. We want to skip the big search engines and go directly to the source. One of our students, Nick, he actually got over $39,000 past his bill. And I mean, he got more than I did using our suggestions. And one of his big wins was an engineering association scholarship. They actually flew him out to Hawaii, which is crazy. Another one is your county plus the word foundation plus the word scholarship. So say we're in Orlando, we could look up Orlando Foundation Scholarship. Say we're an hour out, we can still look that up. A lot of times they kind of stretch out their borders of where the scholarships are. The great thing about this is we can find community foundations that often have $500,000 or $1 million or millions to give out and one application for all of that money. So this is a great opportunity. Another one that we can do, and this one is where the sky is the limit, are passions, interests, characteristics, plus the word scholarship, right? So here is one funny example, but it's actually a true one that I did with a student once, and it's scholarships for horse lovers. And we, at first, of course, fastweb.com, the big sites showed up. We want to skip those and keep scrolling down. And we saw youngrider.com. So just by looking at the domain, we can say, okay, that's probably associated with this topic and it's probably legitimate. And so we went to their site and lo and behold, we found 6 scholarships specific for people interested in horses. So this is what we want to do, just like the associations, right? So Tara just asked, what was the first search? That was the career path or major plus the word association plus the word scholarship. So again, we would go to Engineers of America. I just made that association up, but maybe it is. We want to go to their actual website and that URL. Okay. Now, oh my gosh, I love this slide. It's actual screenshots from emails where our members, I say, stop what you're doing and do these searches and that I just showed you. And the replies are hilarious. Holy crap. Yeah, there's tons. One other family wrote back saying they won over $3,000 with that search result alone. One family sent back 3 that they found immediately. So another one said, we found a few. So this search can really make a huge difference. Okay. Now, again, I talked about Nick. He got over, I said 39, it's 29,000 beyond his free ride using this exact method, right? Using all the different types, the 4 types of scholarships, but also finding those associations really got him to where he got some decent dollars. All right, let's see here. Oh, Belinda asked, does the interest have to be current? For example, dance? I would say if it was a big part of their life, but they're not necessarily doing it now, they can still look. Okay. I would still look. It might be a little bit less effective, but I would still check because they might say must have danced X amount of years in the last X amount of years. You know, they might not say that you have to be dancing now, for example. Let's see here. Okay. And I'm just going back. Great question. Where does the money sit until a student goes to college? So what they do is they wait until your student chooses their school. And then around May, they will reach out and say, hey, okay, did you pick a school? And then they'll send the money. Great question. All right, let's talk about financial need. So as we're doing our searches, you will come across scholarships that say financial need required. What does that mean? A lot of families think that means that they must have gotten Pell Grant through FAFSA. No, that is not the case. And in fact, in the scholarship system in our program, we have an interview with a scholarship committee that has given out millions. And to them, they say financial need required, but what they mean is, will your student have to borrow? If so, that is financial need. They don't need a 0 EFC number or negative EFC number. Sorry, SAI, Student Aid Index. That's what it's called now. Will they have to borrow if they go to school? Most of you, the answer is yes, that is financial need. Now, sometimes it'll say specifically what the number has to be from FAFSA or below, and that's black and white. But for many students, we can get around this. In fact, here's one of our students. Samantha, she got 6 figures in scholarships, but she got nothing through FAFSA. And so she thought, oh, well, we can't get anything, but didn't give in and applied to even ones that said financial need, even though FAFSA said she didn't need anything, which wasn't the truth. And she won. Let's see here. Can I apply for multiple scholarships at the same time? Yeah, we're submitting dozens, right? Dozens of applicants. So, which actually leads me into the perfect next step. And that is the myth around this has to take tons of time. Okay. So this is a bonus one I want to talk about. It's not necessarily, it's actually technically step 6, but really when it comes to applying to scholarships, we have to make sure that they're legitimate, right? So just by knowing which scholarships to apply to, we are going to save tons of time, right? I wasted an entire year applying to scams and not hearing back or just getting a ton of spammy emails. So right there, just building the right list can save your family so much time, years. But the other part of this is that the process really does not have to take a ton of time, especially once we start bringing in some wins, okay? And the other thing I want to talk about is, and I'm going to share more about that, how we can save time. But one of the examples is as we're doing our searches, if you come across scholarships where, say, the deadline just passed, but if we look at the criteria, our student will still be eligible the following year, we still want to save it. We want to mark that deadline for next year. Oftentimes the deadlines are the same year after year or within a week. So I would set the deadline maybe for a month prior with the link to the scholarship and then go back and look at it when it opens up next year. This is where that snowball effect starts coming in. So as we're doing our searching, following years, we'll already have applications in a list ready for us to apply to. Now, again, another thing about this is we want to make sure that we don't miss those deadlines. So we actually have a free app and Chrome extension that we just did a major overhaul and update that you can use. And that's regardless of being a member. We make that free for everyone, where you save scholarships that you want your student applying to, or your student can save them in there. And then it has alerts 1 day, 7 days, or 14 days before the deadline. And so even ones that deadlines have passed, but we want to come back, check it out next year, we can save those in there and have a reminder set for it. But this is another way to save time, is never missing those deadlines, right? We're spending all this time building this list and then students forget to go and apply. What a waste of time, right? So always, regardless of using our app, always make sure there's some kind of electronic calendar reminder to actually go and apply. Now, here is where a lot of time can be saved. Just because legitimate ones have more requirements doesn't mean they have to take that much more time. We give templates to our students in the scholarship system, but you can create a doc where you can keep basic information that you keep seeing repeatedly requested. Maybe essays by essay topic, resumes, cover letters, recommendation letters. These are all things that we teach our students how to reuse. Now, you can write down different materials that are required, that whole list that I just talked about. There's also portfolios, maybe if they're artistic, that needs to be in there. Interview steps, maybe they prep for interviews, any kind of stuff we can document so that we can reuse it next time. Now, here is an example of a student. She got over $92,000 in scholarships. And I asked her mom, I said, how many essays would you say she had to write? She said 5 or 6. $92,000 with 5 or 6 essays. She said once she got a number of those essays done, it just got so much easier because we could cut and paste. That's an actual quote from our conversation. So this is where we can really save time. Here's Joseph. Oh my gosh, I love this story. So $76,000 in scholarships by the end of senior year in high school. He's continuing to apply, of course, and he'll have that full ride. But he got to where one of his essays, he was able to fully reuse and paste for an application. Took him 30 minutes to do the whole application because he had all the stuff put aside because of our program, and he won $600. What kind of student makes $600 in 30 minutes of effort? That is a pretty darn good hourly rate, right? All right, so here are some of the sections of legitimate scholarships, but also some sections that you can think of for saving info. Basic info, their academics, GPAs, test scores, involvements. We have an activity sheet for our families where they update it every single semester. Essays. A lot of times we'll see common essay topics that are used over and over. And in fact, in the scholarship system, we actually go through some of the essay prompts and show them how to use the same essay for multiple questions. And anything else section. So do we have cover letters that we have typed up about our lives that we could submit in an anything else section? These are all things that can be saved in, say, a Google Drive or a Dropbox. Okay, let's see here. And Sherry, these are amounts that are for the 4 years. So they got to where, there's money from the school, there's money from FAFSA, and then they're getting private scholarships to help cover the rest. So these amounts, I would say that their total degree was probably costing maybe like $120,000 that they needed to get in total. All right, let's see here. So that said, and by the way, perfecting all these sections that I just talked about, right? That basic info, the academics, the essays, anything else section, all of that is where is the second half of the system, right? Getting competitive is step 4, mastering those applications is step 5, and then how to create the system itself so that it's fast and repeatable is step 6. And so this is the path to scholarships, right? It's not this one-time thing. We continue to do it throughout all 4 years of college. And even we've had some families where they're continuing to do it for a master's degree, right? A graduate degree. So I want to dissect a few families' paths, but the point here is to show that creating a system and really fine-tuning this will not only benefit a student for the next few months when they're applying, but it'll benefit them for years to come because they can continue bringing in more and more money. So can you do this? If you can, how do you feel now? Do you feel like, okay, I think I could find some legitimate scholarships now, or this does seem more doable? Let me know in the comments how you feel after hearing this. And again, remember, the best part about this is as we continue doing this process, we can keep winning more and more money. And yet, like me, it took less and less applications, which meant less and less time and energy. So while you guys are answering me, I just want to quickly recap. It's never too late. It's never too early. We talked about the different scholarship seasons, and I gave you examples of students securing scholarships, not just by the end of senior year, but also throughout college. We talked about how your student does not need a perfect GPA, superstar athletic genes, nor do you have to be low income. We talked about how to get around that financial need requirement. We talked about starting with existing competencies and then how to research some, for example, automatic scholarships so that we can aim for those goals. Then we talked about good scholarships, how those are not the ones that most students go for, and the 4 different types of scholarships: merit, financial aid grants, private scholarships, and cash awards. And I gave you lots of specific examples on searches for those and how to identify legitimate ones versus scams. And then I talked about the process doesn't need to take a ton of time. You just have to find the right scholarships so that we're not wasting time. We have to make sure we don't waste time because we miss deadlines. We have lots of tools for that. And we have to create a system, right? Something that's streamlined and repeatable. So my question is, will you commit to this? Will you and your students start working on scholarships? Will you be a #rebel family and say no to that broken system? Let me know in the comments. Does that sound, yeah, Jen just said, I feel motivated to really jump in. Yes, less overwhelmed. Yay, I learned a lot. Awesome. And if you feel overwhelmed, okay, you have 2 choices right now, okay? You can go through it the complicated and frustrating way, try to navigate this on your own. And honestly, that's what I did. It was hard. I wasted so much time. I got sucked into scams. And a lot of times students just end up overwhelmed and they quit. And that's what we call the #accepting family. And what would that cost you if we did that, or if we did nothing, right? If we had to cut into our own savings or our retirement. Or the other alternative is to go at it the simple and strategic way. Get the results that you need fast. Learn what's working right now. Use proven strategies with me side by side with you and your student, knowing what to do when applying. Students are busy these days. Parents are even busier. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. So, and believe me, you will waste a lot of time just like I did if you were to do that. And again, a lot of families, they just quit because they get overwhelmed trying to figure it out. So I just want to spend the last couple minutes introducing the scholarship system. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you want clear steps, if you want a blueprint to scholarships, this is your absolute fastest way for you and your student to see big results in the scholarship process. Again, I've been doing this professionally for a decade, and myself add another 5 years, almost 15 years. And we have boiled this down into a perfect system for you and your student. What you will accomplish through this program is you will learn how to effortlessly find scholarships that have less competition, that are actually legit, and your students eligible. You will learn how to build competitiveness so your students can not only look competitive and be competitive, but doing it without joining everything under the sun. Okay. We actually tell them join less. All right. It's amazing. The third thing we're going to talk about, or you'll take away from the course, is how to hook judges with our 3-step writing method. We have a 3-step writing method. We also have a 3-part framework. Even students that hate writing love this lesson. Okay. They use it. I've met students where they're like, I'm using these for my research papers. I'm using this for my applications. I'm using this for everything, because the writing method really changes it, even for students that hate writing. And then we're also going to save you hundreds of hours with a streamlined process with reusable, high quality materials. We give templates, cheat sheets, all that stuff that's actually done for you. And I think this is actually one of the biggest things. And I think some of you guys are already feeling this: motivation and accountability. A lot of families jump in and they said, I had no idea how motivating this would be for my daughter. Just giving them those steps to take rather than just saying, go apply for scholarships. They don't even know where to begin. Instead, you just say, go do step 1. And then let's do step 2. And then let's do step 3. That's it. We make it into bite-sized actionable pieces, and it motivates them. And also we have a full Facebook community to hold them accountable. And also you parents, by the way. So what actually comes with it? You get streamlined videos. They're bite-sized, 8 to 12 minutes long. That way they're short, punchy, and actionable. You don't have to sit there through, an hour-long presentation every single lesson, okay? Templates and tools to implement the process. We don't want you guys just learning how to do it. We want you actually implementing it. We have surprise bonus interviews. For example, that committee that I interviewed that gives out millions of dollars, we actually asked them, what are you looking for in applications? It's such a golden interview. We also have interviews with a shrink, a teen psychologist, on how to motivate your student. I saw some of you guys talking about having a hard time getting your student to do the process. So we actually brought in a professional and did an entire interview with her on that. And then we also have the private Facebook community that I mentioned, which you can ask questions. You can see what other people are asking. We do Q&As in there. We give prizes. That community is so amazing. You have thousands and thousands of families that are going through this that you can join. And lastly, this is one of the most valuable things. We actually have 2 times a week strategy sessions that you can jump on for free. Anytime you guys are stuck, any questions you guys have, you can jump in and ask questions. These are standing meetings. We do just ask that you register within 24 hours or before 24 hours, or else we cancel it if no one registers. But this is almost like a one-on-one, because usually it's just a couple students or parents that jump on. And like I said, it's organized by the 6 steps. Okay. So briefly, I want to just recap what those are. So the first step is getting in that money-making mindset. How do we set goals? How do we find accountability buddies? What are the myths and how do we get over those? You guys touched on that today, but there's so much in here that really helps students ensure their success. Maximizing College Funding 101. So this is all the different terms. I explain more about the student loan payments, and we even give you guys our college cost calculator so that you can see what their cost will be, what their loan payments each month will be if they borrow the money. I've had students literally change their college choice just by filling in this spreadsheet. Step 3, uncovering those hidden scholarships. I gave you a few searches today. Inside the program, we actually have videos of me walking students through actual searches so you can see how we do it. We give you our Savvy Scholarship Locator. It's a worksheet that gives you 30 plus search terms to use. We show you guys how to eliminate those fake spammy scholarships so that your student doesn't waste time like I did. And so many other cheat sheets to help your student find scholarships that are the absolute best for them. Step 4 is how to get competitive. Okay, how do we make bringing in the money easier, and how do we heat up our application by doing so? Believe it or not, again, this does not mean getting involved in a million things. In fact, we actually have them pick just a few and go in deep. So we come up with lots of ideas. We also actually teach students how to figure out things that they're already doing and how to sell those. A lot of times students don't even realize they have a ton going for them. All right, I see a lot of questions about essays. That's in step 5, perfecting the application. But it's not just essays. Do we have tips in there? Absolutely. We have entire videos. I go through actual common prompts and show great openings, great closings of essays. We talk about how to finagle the same essay so that it can be used for different prompts. But we also talk about interviewing, video essays, any kind of competition days, any kind of competitive factors that they need to submit, we have suggestions for. And you can see in here, by the way, the student, let's see here, just two scholarships. One was 500 and then one was 5,000 because of implementing these tips. And then she talked about how our writing method taught her how to stay organized with what she wants to talk about and decreased her writing time. So you can see right there, it is so helpful. All right. And then step 6 is all about how do we make a system, right? How do we don't want to submit just a one-off application. We want to submit multiple so that we increase our chances of winning and really bring in that free ride. And so this is where systemizing comes into play. Students don't realize, but this is one of the most important steps because otherwise they're going to be starting from scratch each application and just quitting. Okay. We also talk about ways to network for money, ways to follow up with thank you letters. We have a thank you template. We talk about taxes. So anything around scholarships, we've got in here. Okay, and then I did mention, you can see in here, the discussion group that comes along with the steps. So it's not just content, it's support as well. Here's a mom that literally was crying based on the amazing feedback that she received while in the community. And then you can see here, I can go on and on with screenshots of all the families that are saying how much they love the community, cheering each other on, collaborating with each other. We've had families sharing essays and other people sharing their opinions on it. It is amazing. Now, who has this worked for? Okay, I will tell you, if we are just a tire kicker, if we just want an easy button and we don't want to do any work, this is not for you. But if we're willing to do the work and we just want clear steps to follow, then this is exactly what you need. Okay. It will take way less work because you'll have a clear system at hand, but you still do have to do the steps with your student. And it works. Again, we've gotten almost $13 million that our families have secured. And here's just some of the screenshots. I could go on and on with so many screenshots of all of the different wins. In fact, actually, I'll give you the link to join in just a moment, and you'll find even more, including videos with actual families sharing their experience on there. And I love it. Never would have applied to this without this course. There's just so many wins. And this is where I want you guys to fall into. I don't want you in those stats, the scary stats earlier of students moving back in with parents or not investing in their future because they can't because of their student debt. Instead, I want you guys bragging about these wins like our other families. So that's a scholarship system. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is I know where a lot of families get stuck. And so I do want to share just a few bonuses quickly, and then I'll let you know how much it costs, and then we'll get into the Q&A. Okay. So in addition to all of the cheat sheets, worksheets, templates, community, the Q&As every week, we do have a few bonuses. One is that every week we share our own vetted scholarships inside the group. Do you just want to rely on this? No, but it is a nice little bonus. We have those live strategy sessions 2 times a week. We also do a big one every month. We have the mobile app and the Chrome extension. We have videos inside the course on how to use these to really fine tune the process. And then this is what I was talking about earlier, where we have an entire list of over 100 places to find scholarships, tons of different ideas, things like Rotary Club, Elks Club, all these different local sources, national sources. We brainstormed every place we could think of and put it in a PDF for you guys. Oh, and then I talked about earlier that Essay Master Pack. So this is the thing. This is the catch with this. This is a special bonus for those who join today. Okay. So if you join by the end of today's webinar, then you will get this special master essay pack. Okay. With that scholarship essay cheat sheet, the sentence starters, the Mad Libs for scholarship essays, and the real life examples. So you'll actually get examples of winners' essays. So imagine if all this did was give you $6,500, like, like Elaine's son, or $76,000 like Gay's son, or $92,000 like Colleen's daughter. Imagine how helpful that would be for you. What is your student graduating debt-free worth? For a lot of families, it's on average 21 years of debt that they can avoid. And there are so many more families that have had so much success. All right. So what does it cost? I know you guys are curious. You'll see other consultants charging thousands of dollars for pieces of this, right? Just an essay program, almost $2,000. I know that this is not something that my family could afford. I'm not expecting that of you. I also want you to think about the fact that a scholarship is $2,000, the national average win. You can see here's one student that they joined only a month in and they won $2,500, which is above the average, just one win. But our average is actually over $5,000. Now, this is, of course, you've got some that have bigger wins, some that have lower, but our average overall is more than double the national average. And it's because we are so good at what we do. So you get everything that I talked about, which is worth well over $6,000. And every time we improve it, it is worth even more. And here's what I did. I asked my network, I said, what do you think I should charge for this? And they said easily more than $1,000. But again, my family could not have afforded that. And so I wanted to go ahead and make it more affordable for you. And so what we did is we took $600 off that. We cut it almost in half. So it's only $697. Now this discount ends in 4 days up to that $1,297. And if you want to join, you can go to that link on the screen here that popped up with the offer, and you'll see more information there. You'll see testimonials. You'll see actual interviews with winners, all the details of what's in each step. So you can check out that at the link. And then, of course, again, joining today, you get that bonus. So imagine if your student just got a $2,000 scholarship or that $2,500 win that they got within a month of joining, that's tripling your investment. Or if they got a 4-year scholarship, that'd be over 10xing. That'd be 12xing your ROI of your investment on this. So now the other thing I want to do is actually make this extra easy for you. And that is by offering a $1 trial today. So the way this works is you give me $1 today. I give you the entire course access, not the bonuses though, but you do get the rest. And you will see some surprises in there that I haven't even gotten a chance to cover, but this will give you full access to the main material so that you can make sure that this is legitimate and this is something that you want for your student. I want you to see how amazing it is once you are in there. Now we do offer a 3-month payment plan if you're not able to do the $697, if that price is out of your range. So it's 3 times $247. You'll see that also on the page. And by the way, bonuses are available again after that trial period. Now, one more thing is that during that trial, you can cancel at any time. So reach out to us before that trial ends and we will cancel it. No questions asked. We can part as friends. Okay. I want you to feel good about this. I know that there's too many too good to be true promotions out there. Again, we've been doing this for a decade. There's a reason. It's because we're great at what we do. I want you to see that when you log in, you should be impressed. And you should be blown away by what's in there. That's why I've included that 7-day trial. Okay. All right. So again, all of everything that you get, the bite-sized videos, all the templates, cheat sheets, the 2 times a week strategy sessions, those alone are $150, $200 per hour normally if you were to work with a consultant. The bonuses, the essay cheat sheets, the essay master pack. We have our app and Chrome extension. You have our entire team support, all of it for only $697. And again, don't forget that bonus is if you join by the end of today's Q&A. All right. So you just go to the link on the screen, thescholarshipsystem.com/join and $697, or you can choose the payment plan. And once you join, you'll immediately get an email with your login access. And again, don't forget that the bonuses, the discounts, they all end. Well, the fast action bonus ends today, but the rest of the bonuses end in 4 days. After that, it will go up to $1,297. So you'll lose the discount and the bonuses. Okay. So that's it, everyone. Thank you guys so much for your time. Let me know, was this helpful? Did you take something away? Did you get a golden nugget that you're going to use and implement right away? Let me know. But overall, the scholarship system, this is the exact resource for parents, for students that want just clear steps and they want to start implementing now. If you have a senior, especially if you have a college student, you need to start applying ASAP. When you join, there's actually a choice between a 3-week schedule, a 6-week schedule, and I want to say it's 10-week schedule, or a more spread out schedule. This is based on your students' urgency, because we know some of you need to be doing this now. And so why try and reinvent the wheel? There's no need to. We have the exact steps for you. So no matter which category you fall into, if we haven't even started and we need to figure it out, or if we've tried and failed and we just need to figure out why it's not working for us, or if our student's already in college and you need to figure out how to cover that amount that they're borrowing in loans, this is for you. Okay. So just go to the link on the screen at the bottom there. You can also, if you have any questions, you can email us. Our email's right there on the screen as well in orange. So info@thescholarshipsystem.com. You can shoot us an email and we can help you out. All right, let's see here. Yay. Thank you guys. Great information. Thank you, Gloria. Amazing. Okay. So let me know what questions. I see some questions I'm going to go back to and answer, but if you have any more, just go ahead and put them in the chat and I will get to them. Okay. Cheaper than most. Thanks, Carrie. We have actually not raised prices since well before COVID. So I will let you guys know that this is probably the last year at that price. In fact, actually, we may end up raising the price by fall. So just, like you guys know, inflation has affected everything. And we have now a major team of support and awesome resources. So this might be your last chance to join at this price. I saw one person ask, how long do we have access? So this is for a year, Stephanie. However, the renewal fee is under $200. I want to say it's $147. So it is actually a fraction of the cost to renew. And the only reason that we do that is because you can continue using the live support, right? That's how we keep funding the coaches that I invest in to do those Q&As for you and your family. And you also get access to any kind of updates that we do annually, or even sometimes we're updating it multiple times a year. So but it's only, I think, $147 for an entire additional year. All right, let's see here. For those who joined today, don't worry. As long as you join, you will get the bonuses. We immediately we write down who purchased in the right timing before we wrap up, and you will get access to it. Let's see here. Yeah, and the fast action bonus, that is that essay. Let me just pull it back up. That is that essay master pack. Here we go. Where you have the essay cheat sheet. This is where we give actual common prompts and walk your student through brainstorming what they could write about, what stories they could use. We also have template sentence starters. This is where we actually have fill in the blank sentences. So great starter sentences for, say, the beginning of a new paragraph or beginning of a new section. Just strong essay frameworks. And then lastly, to top it off, we give actual winning essay examples, essays that have won thousands and thousands of dollars. In fact, actually, I want to say that between the few, they've won $250,000 between those essays. So you guys can actually see examples of essays that have won. Oh, Carmen asked a great question. Is this per child? No, Carmen, this is per family. So you guys do share the login. We just realized, some families have 5 kids. There's just no way we could do that, right? So this is per family. We want you guys all in this together, hold each other accountable, and do it together, right? And that way your chances of success will be much, much higher. So no, this is per family. That's it. It's a one family price. Ooh, Jenny, can juniors apply for scholarships and hold them until college? Yes, Jenny. In fact, we want to be doing this by junior year. Absolutely. Eric just joined. Yay! Welcome, Eric. That's awesome. So awesome. Let's see here. When is the deadline? Okay, what we'll do. So you guys, it's supposed to be by the end of when I wrap up. So however long this Q&A lasts, I would say we'll probably be on, well, it depends on your questions, maybe another 20 minutes. And then, yeah, so the fast action bonus is for those who joined today, but then the rest of the bonuses you have, let's see, that 100 plus places to find scholarships, all of the Q&A sessions. We have the app and the pre-vetted scholar. Those will all, anyone that joins by Thursday. And then after Thursday, it'll be for those who join in the next 4 days. Yeah. And then after that deadline, the price goes up $600. So you could technically still join, but it'll be for almost double the price. Listening to all the tips and implementing all the steps. So you want to be able to keep coming back. Colleen helping me out. Do you mind sharing the link in the chat again? We might be able, I don't know if we can pin it there. Lindsay joined, Kim joined. Yay, welcome. Bianca's giving me some of your names as we go. When did the dollar trial end? It's 7 days to the minute, okay, that you purchase. All right, there you go. Bianca just put on the chat. You should be able to see the link to join. If you have a senior, is it too late? Julie, absolutely not. It is great timing. Okay. We do have to get started now. That's actually why we're doing this training now, so that your student can get started and have enough time to actually submit some applications for this upcoming school year. But no, it is not too late. Okay. And even then, when they get, so there's tons of deadlines coming up in the next few months. We do have an accelerated schedule that tells them where to prioritize their focus inside the course. It's a 3-week version for students who really need to get money now, who really need to get applications submitted now. For those who have juniors and younger, you can do the longer schedules, okay? But for our seniors and college students, you can do that accelerated one or the 6-week one. But that way, you can get applications done right away. And then once we master it, again, remember that your student can continue using those skills to you click choose your. So if you don't care to do the trial, it's okay. It'll process at the end of the trial. Don't worry about that. Broke that down into monthly, putting in the work and knocking out those applications. They'll be really well skilled in this. And one of the things I don't talk about during this presentation is that they're learning life skills, right? This is not only going to help them with scholarships, but with their resumes, with applying to jobs. I actually had a parent email me and say that they had gone through it, and he said, we're just now getting applications done, but I already see the benefit for my daughter. Even if she didn't win a scholarship, she just learned so many life. If you don't necessarily care, then it'll just process at the end of the trial. You don't have to worry about anything. If you decide it's not for you, then you just shoot us an email, info@thescholarshipsystem, prior to the trial ending, okay? But we don't do refunds down the road, okay? So please know that we do the trial, but we're not going to do a month down the road a refund because we changed our minds. That trial is your opportunity to cancel, okay? Verlonda, if you search the scholarship system in your app store, it's on Android and iOS, you will find the app there. You can also go to the scholarshipsystem.com/app, APP, and we have an instruction video there, but you can you can install the apps and the extension there. We just know you still get all the bonuses, even with the trial. We just do those as an opportunity so that you guys can get in there and look around. Can freshmen apply as well? Rose asked. So it is possible. There are scholarships for younger kids. We have a whole list that's for, I think, 13 and up, but it is less common. But by sophomore year, freshmen and sophomores, we have a stretched out version of the course. Remember, we have 3 schedule options, and we can put more focus on step 4 where they're getting involved. And that way, when it comes time to really be applying by junior and senior year, they will have an amazing resume, amazing essays. They'll have a list of scholarships. So it will make junior and senior year so much less stressful. A lot of my junior and senior families, they say, oh my gosh, why did we wait? Georgina, yes, you give I will get to the other questions. There's just so many. I'm going to go through even the ones that aren't necessarily about the course in just a moment. Elle, you should have so your username is going to be the email address that you started with, but you should check your email and you'll get a login link and stuff and a welcome email there. If you, for some reason, did not, shoot our team an email and we'll make sure there wasn't like a typo or something in the email address. Just email us info@thescholarshipsystem.com. Carmen joined, Kelly joined, Anu, Nancy, Leah, Danielle, Becky, Sarah, Jody, Kim, Lindsay, Colleen. Yay. Oh, this is amazing. You guys are awesome. I can't wait. I'm so excited. And by the way, Bianca, do you mind to join? You go to the scholarships, click the button. Okay, let's go back to some of these questions. Let's see here. Oh, I can't remove. How do I remove some of these questions? Let's see. Oh, there we go. Oh, you will see an option, by the way, to add on essay reviews. Carmen just asked about that. Those are where our team does do a one-on-one essay review, and you can choose whichever essay you guys want. I think it's up to 1,000 words. I really recommend using one that is a reusable topic. Don't just use some weird prompt. Use one that your student will be able to reuse over and over. But we've had families where they were doing tons and tons of applications, not hearing back, found us, got the essay reviews, and in one essay review, their luck completely turned around. They actually started winning. And actually, by the end of that semester, they had brought in $15,000 once we reviewed their essay. So those reviews are not just, oh, you forgot a comma, you forgot a period. They're actually strategic. You get a video explaining why we made the changes we made. So that, again, you said you have a question you don't necessarily want to post here. That's fine. Shoot us an email, info@thescholarshipsystem.com. Let's see here. A mini lesson on FAFSA in there. That's not the focus of this program, but we do talk about it. Where's the weekly chat? That is, we have 2 times weekly chats. They're on Zoom. That way, Facebook, you can still attend. If they have not received information, then through FAFSA, you should be able to submit whatever it is that they're asking for. We have in the Facebook community, as you could imagine, we have so many conversations about stuck. So you can always ask those in there too. Okay, let's see here. Which is great. So yeah, those are add-ons. The $1, we are going to take some time off and kind of focus on some other things. So this is, Carrie, I would reach out. Have your students been admitted? I guess they're not getting the info until March, but they might be able to walk you through how to fix that. Georgina, do we enter students' information? Enter the information, but it is not automatic because if you go to the scholarshipsystem.com/app, APP, there's a video explaining how to use it. I really, really recommend watching that video. 7 days will be, so Sunday at 1 p.m. is when the trial will finish. Carmen, my oldest is in their first year of college. Second is in 10th grade. I had to, cash out my 401k. Yeah, Carmen, you want them applying for scholarships. For the rest of you guys, I will say that I really, really, you can always borrow for college. You cannot borrow for retirement. Okay. So just keep that in mind. I know families want to help their students, but you also have to take care of yourself. Okay. So you're in the right place by doing this and by getting them working on scholarships. That's exactly what you should be doing. Missed your question? Feel free to write it again. I apologize. And I keep scrolling up and then more pop in. Let's see here. Okay, I got through these. Sorry, I'm like, the subscription, shoot us an email, info@thescholarshipsystem.com, and we can tell you exactly what you're signed up for already. Single mom, Pam said, was sophomore in college, senior headed next year as a pre-med, definitely need money. Yes, absolutely. And if they can master this, man, they could even look into fellowships for medical school, although will be a lot of work, but mind sharing the renewal link, or you can just email us, info@thescholarshipsystem.com. Jennifer asked, which one is better, this or the Debt-Free Degree Lab? So Jennifer, I've of course made both of them. I think they're both amazing. They really complement each other. They are not the same info. So the scholarship system is all about scholarships, private scholarships, merit scholarships. It's all about a couple times a year for that program because there's so much going on. Happen is time happens and say, hey, have you chosen your school? Where do we send the money? And your student will. It's a crazy process. So we just have to figure out how to make it affordable and have invested in today. Let's see here. We do not sell individual PDFs or anything like that separately. All right. Yeah, I know, Vivian, you've got to go. Thank you guys so much. I know that you guys have been on with me for quite a while now. Some of you said we need to get my son's buy-in. Totally understandable, or my husband's buy-in, or my partner. That's fine. We will email out the replay. Okay, so you'll get a link with the replay, so that way your family can watch this and you guys can make the decision together. What I'm going to do is, if you join by midnight tonight, we'll give you that fast action bonus. Okay, because I do know you guys, it is an investment, and I understand why you'd want to talk to your partner about it, or your family. So that said, we will honor anyone that joins by midnight. So join today, but I'll give you until midnight for that fast action bonus. Okay. But those of you that already joined, you guys all have it. Oh my gosh, there's so many names. Magali, Maya, Kate, Jennifer, Priscilla, Venny. This is amazing. Yay. I'm so excited for you guys. Welcome. Hashtag Rebel Families. But yeah, so if you're on the fence, you're going to get the replay today. Watch it, sign up by midnight. I'll give you that essay master pack. Let's see here. And all of the bonuses are after the trial finishes. Okay. So just giving you guys a heads up. I did say that earlier, but I wanted to point that out again. Let's see here. Tips, right? We talk about it's solely focused strategy. Many of you were able to attend live, and all these comments, it just makes it so much more fun for me. So let's see here. Are there Helfer scholarships for people in college already, Carla? It will work even if your student's already there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So again, the scholarship system, this is your A to Z blueprint on scholarships. It is the exact system you need to follow if your student needs money for college. If you are sick of feeling overwhelmed and afraid of figuring out how to pay for college, this is what you need. It is your sanity. It is going to save you some gray hairs. It is going to calm down that relationship between you and your child, because you will have a clear process to follow. They won't feel as overwhelmed. It won't feel as scary. And you will have a proven system that has helped families bring in almost $13 million to date. Okay. We've been doing this professionally for a decade. We know what we're doing. Let us show you guys how to do it. Okay. All right. Yay. I hope that you guys love this. I loved spending this time with you guys. I will let you guys go. Let me know if you have any questions at all. You can just email us, info@thescholarshipsystem.com. Please don't be shy. Our whole team is there, ready to help you guys. Okay. Yeah. Amen to saving my relationship with my child. Oh, Jackie, I know. Again, we've been doing it for 10 years. We've seen a thing or two. We've got you guys covered. Don't worry. Okay, everyone. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Bianca, for your help today. We'll talk to you guys soon. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you new #Rebel families. I'm so excited for you guys. All right. We'll see you soon. Bye now.